forget about me being a kidnapping victim. Honestly, the police thought they could trade me by extorting money from me and coercing me into becoming a prostitute so they can pit me out, and everyone and themselves, including everyone they know, can have sex with me, because then at least everyone's happy because they're having sex and I get paid for it, so it's compensation. And since they're doing it, right, they can't, if they'll go to prison if they actually report it, so I don't have to worry about going to prison. And if I don't become a prostitute, then I will end up in prison. I'm like, what? Yeah, that's what they were doing. They all of these people, all these insane, crazy Canadians, all of them are insane, decided to say the best career path for my life was prostitution, right? And that I should be a prostitute so everyone can have sex with me, because it doesn't matter if I even need to do that or not. Even if that, it doesn't matter if I'm suited for the job or not, it doesn't matter what I am. Everyone wants to have sex with me, and I have to, because that's what they want. It doesn't matter what I want, because I'm a monogamous person. But it doesn't matter if I'm a prostitute, so I can be polygamous and everyone can just have sex with me and I get paid for it. So why wouldn't I want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, because everyone in the world is just like you. They only care about money, right? Like, the only problem in my life is the fact that I don't have enough money, and I'll do anything to get money because I'm a whore, I'm a prostitute. I understand that's what you, that's a prostitute. I understand that's what you are. Do you understand? Not everybody is like you. Yes, this is something a little kid understands, like 5-year-olds. They start understanding this concept called, like, I understand this is how I think, and now I understand this is how that person thinks. We all think differently. You know, I have my own opinions, that person has their own opinions. Doesn't really matter if we're gonna work together. Oh, in my class, there's some people, they all think differently because they're not me. This is how I think. This is how other people think. They couldn't grasp this because they're retarded, right? Like, legitimately, they're mentally retarded, as in, like, autistic or, like, pervasive developmental disorder. They never got diagnosed when they're children, and it's starting to affect them in adulthood. They missed a critical developing point in their life during childhood, and it's affecting them in adulthood, etc., etc., etc. From a psychologist's standpoint, they're not very well developed due to lack of social, emotional, or otherwise mental support at a certain critical age in their life, which has led to them suffering from inability to progress as expected of other kids in their age group. Now, my problem is, why do they think that I was a prostitute? It doesn't matter what I was actually doing. Because they have personality disorders and they're going through psychosis, they believe what they think looks like that thing, and everyone else thinks that way, and they thought that I looked like a prostitute even though I didn't look like a prostitute at all. But they believe this, so everything that they're looking at confirms their beliefs and suspicions and led to them hallucinating. Because that's what psychosis is. Like, you start hallucinating, hearing voices and seeing things that aren't there because you're believing in things that aren't true, but to you it's true, and the only way your brain can make sense of it is if it adds all those untrue things in it. It's kind of like it's triggering the wrong nerves and the wires in your brain, because it's not okay for you to assume and project your own insecurities onto other people, right? It's like, this is what I am, but I don't like myself, so I can't be that person that I hate. That person has to be that person, you know? That's that person I don't know. Yeah, that's the person. That's the worst person in the world. I'm gonna describe myself, but I can't accept that that's me. It has to be somebody else, right? And I'm like, oh, so like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to, like, sit there and be okay with the fact that all these people, right, just want me to be a prostitute, and they're gonna continue to abuse me into becoming a prostitute, and then tell me that if I become a prostitute, I can have a real job, I can have some money, and I can find a place to live. That way everyone can have sex with me and everyone's happy except for me. I'm the only one who's miserable in this situation, and if I did that, I would even hate myself for it. And they're like, it doesn't matter what you feel, it's more important that everyone else except you is happy. And I'm like, why would I do that to myself? Literally, I have to sacrifice myself and my life to make everyone else happy because everyone's my children, right? You're all my kids. I'm God, and you are all born of me, right? I'm like, are you insane? Like, the fuck are they saying? And they're like coming up to me and trying to convince me, like, you're the loser. You don't have any social status. No, 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 no. I'm like, you don't even know what immigration is. Like, how the fuck are you even alive? I was like, they're literally a bunch of hobos that live here. Somebody told me that a bunch of police cars are just following me around and like just standing right down the street and just like sitting there. Literally, they're just literally stalking me at work. They parked their car nearby where I am and just sat there and just didn't do anything. And people were asking them to leave the area, and then they got really agitated and just went to a different street. And people are asking them, why are you doing that? Why aren't you going near her? Because they have a restraining order. I'm like, you're the one with a restraining order against me. I mean, I'm the one, you're the one who's obligated to stay away from me, and you're telling me that that's the only reason they can't come near me. And I'm like, why are you still at work? If you have a restraining order, aren't you supposed to be fired? Isn't that what that means? Like, why are you at work? And this, like, it's just, a lot of people are trying to tell me that that somehow like it's my fault because I tricked people into believing that they thought that I was a prostitute. I'm like, how can I trick people into thinking what they're thinking? I can't trick anyone into thinking something. Like, now you're blaming me for your thoughts. You have thoughts in your brain and your head. Like, you come up with all these thoughts and it's my fault because I'm forcing you to think that way because I am intentionally engaging in propaganda. I'm the government and I'm actually actively pushing out propaganda and slander and libel and all that kind of stuff. And not only that, but I'm forcing you to think that way because you can't recognize what those things are because I went into your brain and cut the connections that make you allow you to understand that that's what that means. Yeah, because you don't know what those things mean, even though those things are existing, and that's my fault because I made sure you didn't understand any of that kind of stuff, right? That was me. Yeah, you're right. And I'm like, what do you want me to say? Oh my god. But yeah, that's what the police were saying, and the government of Canada. They're like, you're not a kidnapping victim. You're just a prostitute. Like, people make people like you. You just refuse to do your job as a prostitute. You just want to do something else because you don't go to prison. But the truth is, you're just a prostitute. You're not a kidnapping victim. And if you worked as a prostitute, we would make exceptions for you not to go to prison so that you can have sex with all the police department people because they all want to have sex with you and you get money for it. Isn't that great? And I'm like, can you kill yourself now? Like, literally, like, what is this suicidal note that you're giving me? I don't fucking care. Literally, they're like, yeah, you have to be a prostitute now. And I'm like, I absolutely do not have to do anything you're telling me to do because you have no authority over the job I work or things I choose to do because I'm not a prostitute. And actually, you guys are the ones that are prostitutes because that's what they look like and that's what they behave as and that's how they think. Right? That's you guys. I know you don't like pores, but it means you don't like yourself, and that's why you're projecting that because it's unacceptable to you. How can you not like yourself unless there's something wrong with you? Which means there's something wrong with you. You don't want to admit that. You think you're a perfect little angel. You rather believe that than actually live in reality. And then that's when you start going through psychosis because you're having a split from reality. Okay, this is a reality. You're losing touch with reality. Okay, you're losing contact with reality, what's actually real and what's true, and what's actually going on versus what you believe is true and what you want it to go on, and you enforcing that. It's called propaganda. Okay, you are actively forcing people to go by your ideas that you have in your head, and you want people to go by that kind of stuff instead of actually admitting what's actually going on and what's true and what's real because you're mentally ill, you're delusional. You're not thinking right because you got mental problems. That's what that is. Mental illness means you got mental problems. Can't think straight, can't think clearly, and you think everything that you make up in your head is true. And you look for things to confirm those beliefs, which aren't actually confirmations, but your brain just going haywire and not understanding what's going on. You know, it's just like, you know what, that guy giving you a dirty look to you is that guy giving you hard eyes, right? That's delusion. That's psychosis. A lot of people have gone through it. That's why it's a medical condition. You're supposed to be on medication and see a doctor, see a therapist, and work through it. You know, no one else can tell you how to live your life. But yeah, you are going through psychosis, and it's not my job or responsibility to make sure that you're okay. Especially if you as a governing body is accusing me of becoming a prostitute or being a prostitute just so you can make more money off of me, just so all these rapists can continue to rape me and compensate me for it as if I consented to all of it. You know, it's something wrong with you people, and I don't know what it is. I just really hope that one day you get better, you get well soon, and you realize the mistakes you've made and make amends for it so you can move on with your life and live a good life, you know? Filled with, like, positive, healthy relationships and, like, you know, meaningful employment, fulfilling goals, and, like, you know, just neighborly acts and, like, being part of the society as a whole, and being able to understand other people, you know, making up for all that lost time with your family, and, like, you know, cultivating good hobbies, healthy hobbies, you know, like, you know, losing all that weight finally, you know, becoming healthy, all that kind of stuff, you know, like, being a good person, I think, like, you know, maybe you can, like, one day you will be able to, like, do something that you've always wanted to do, like move to a different country or travel or something. I don't fucking know. You know, make a lot of new friends and all that kind of stuff. Like, I hope that they understand that they're very sick and they need to see a doctor and they need medication. That's what I hope for those people. And these are my hopes. No, if I could make a wish in the world, I wish that there were only good people on the planet. Yeah, that's my wish. I want everyone to be good. But yeah, that's like, yeah, they're insane, and I'm like, fuck. What the fuck you want from me? A fucking 27-year-old woman got kidnapped out of her home country and forced to live here with a bunch of loony bins. I'm living in a fucking loony bin. A bunch of fucking crazies are after me because they're angry because I'm not a prostitute. Because in their minds, that's the only way reality makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry to say that's called psychosis. Yeah, that's what psychosis means. You could have a multitude of mental illnesses. It's not a signifier of schizophrenia. Unfortunately. I mean, you can have schizophrenia and psychosis. You can also have narcissistic personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. You could also have depression. You could have bipolar disorder. All those illnesses have psychosis in it. So, I don't know what it is that you might be suffering from. But yeah, they're insane, and apparently, like, they hate their lives or something, and they're like, if you have sex with me, I really, like, you have to have sex with me because I really want to have sex with you. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, that person is a retard, because I'm not obligated to make sure that you have your wants met because I don't fucking know you, and I'm not obligated to have sex with you because we're not in a relationship, and I refuse to get into one with you because you just want to have sex with me. You don't care about me as a person. You only care about getting your needs met, and you only care about, like, making yourself look good, which doesn't even look good at all. That's why it's called narcissistic personality disorder. They think that it looks good when it looks awful. It's terrible. It's disgusting. It looks like crap, but they think, to them, it looks good, right? They're like, yeah, I believe this is what's going on, and I think this is what it looks like, and other people might believe it too. The minute you try to tell them otherwise, they go insane. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that shit. I have other things going on in my life, and I have actual problems that are related to me. Okay, I have problems and, like, legal problems that I can't have any control over. I'm like a baby. I'm like a legal baby, legal system baby. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm not having sex with you because you asked me to. And if you think you can force someone to becoming a prostitute, I have news for you. You can't.